Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Vibing with Sleazy, the podcast. This is season 6, episode 7. I want to thank everybody for listening, tuning in, and downloading. This has been a fun season so far. I've had done a couple solos and had some guests on. I want to shout out everybody that checked out the Super Bowl episode. Super Bowl's coming up. This one will be out before Super Bowl, so you can listen to that and listen to this. So my special guest is somebody that's been on the show before, somebody that also has done their own podcast in the past days. It's Doug K. How you doing?
Good. How are you, man?
Doing good, brother. I appreciate you coming in. You came in from Ghent, Kentucky, and you've been doing the Ghent, Kentucky thing now with Carrie. So,
Yeah, small
how's
town
Ghent been?
life. It's good, man. I like it. I mean, it's quiet. It's a town of 300 people, so I mean, you can only expect it to be so much, you know what I'm saying? Uh, the gas station's really popping. Dollar General is popping.
Shout to Dollar General.
And Subway, dude, Subway's popping. It's just small town life. It's very quiet, you know what I'm saying? We live down the street from her parents' farm, and
Oh, okay.
it's just it's really like I like it a
You
lot.
can smell hemp too in that one spot.
Yeah, oh
Very
yeah,
strong.
yeah. One town down, yeah.
Yeah.
There's that hemp farm or whatever.
It
Yeah,
really hits you in the nose, and you're
yeah.
like, "Damn, that smells good." I will say this, bringing up Subway. So I like watching Reddit. We were actually talking about that. Me and Doug were catching up before the show, and we were talking about nostalgia vibes and looking at past things at Burger King and past things at random places like that. The thing that I like to look at nostalgia wise is definitely stuff that was from my time period as a kid.
Yeah, the
But
90s.
yeah,
Yeah.
but also even a few years before I was doing my thing and Subway. Let's talk about that. So there was a picture, and I'm going to be honest, it just hit me in the feels. I sent it to a group text, and I think it hit a couple people in their feels because one of the people in the group text was like, "Oh man, Subway! I used to have a soft spot for that." So Subway. I remember as a kid and into my teenage years walking in, and you could see the whole New York City map on the wall.
Oh yeah,
That wallpaper was so historic,
it
and
was wild.
yeah, and they had the booths, and everything was like just you saw that like, oh my gosh, I'm having like a Bernstein effect in my mind, or like a Mandela effect. I mean, not a Bernstein. I was thinking about Bernstein
Oh
Bears.
yeah.
Mandela effect. Isn't Subway the brown with the yellow and white, or is it the black with the yellow and white on the logo? That throwback one they used to have.
Oh, it's black with the yellow and white, right?
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But now I'm kind of like, was it a lighter dark brown? Like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to look that up. So that's a fun one to think about. But because Subway don't have that nostalgia feel, they also when you went in there, they had those nice little booths. Like
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
was New York City back. Now you go into Subway, and it looks like someone took a Subway and turned it into a spaceship. Like there's these yellow green neon lights. There's
Lights,
the
yeah.
spinny chair. But here's the problem. I see that at a diner or a Waffle House, and there's asses in seats. In Subway, people are coming in and getting the footlong and dipping. There's no one enjoying the futuristic robot vibe. But if you brought that wallpaper vibe back, I'm gonna walk in that bitch and be like, in New York, like it's gonna be a special feel.
Well, like in my experience,
Yeah.
uh, I understand why people don't hang out at Subway because when I was a teenager, all of our friends worked at Subway, so we would just go in and terrorize that fucking place. We would get off of school, and then our friends who worked there would go in on shift, and then come like 5 o'clock, bunch of us, eight, nine, 10 of us, we would just mob in there, not buy a single thing, just fucking fuck with our friends who are behind the counter, and just sit in there until they closed. They would be mopping up, and they'd have to like kick us out.
Yeah.
So I get it. It's
Mm.
just like a dirty place for like teenagers to hang out. You know what I mean? And
Well, my Subway love started with this. Okay, let me tell you about a little bit
also,
of my
oh
Subway
yeah,
legacy.
I was gonna say I have a good like history with Subway as well, and I'm curious if it lines up. So
Subway. Where I first started getting my Subway sandwiches was where Kingpin Bowling Alley is. There was a Subway on the corner there. They redid that strip mall. I would go there, but then they built one like 5 minutes from my parents' house when I was a kid. That was across from Dick's Sporting Goods. It's not there anymore either. I'd go there, and there was this Indian man who was very, very old behind the counter that ran it. And every time I'd come in, I'd load my sandwich up with peppers, and he would go, "Oh, it's my little pepper boy," and it would get me so fucking hyped and excited. And me and my mom would come in, and she's like, "He's gonna do it," and I go, "Give me the jalapenos." He go, "Oh, the pepper boy!" So I was the pepper boy, and I felt such a legacy and a vibe to this guy. So this dude, though, every year when I go in there, he'd be like, "One day I'm gonna get you back here making the sandwiches." So I was like, "Well, dude, I'm working at Dick's across the street, but I still fuck with the Subway." So he's like, "Well, you always been the pepper boy." So I meet this chick that I like lived in my neighborhood at the time. We're hooking up, we're hanging out. One night we're chilling, and I look at her and I said, "Yeah, we're talking about Subway." And I told her, I said, "I missed that Subway across from Dick's." I said, "I was the pepper boy." She goes, "Oh, I worked there for like 4 years." And she said, "I worked there for 4 years." And she goes, "That manager was a piece of shit asshole." Dude, it broke my fucking heart because every time I walked in that bitch, he's like, "Oh, there's the pepper boy." Dude, that hyped me up. That was a boost, dude. I would be like, "Give me more peppers, motherfucker." Now this girl sits and breaks my heart telling me he's just a piece of shit asshole and he like wouldn't let her off for her birthday. I'm like, this is horrible. So that went on. And then I went to Subway on Taylorsville that's still open. That's one that they turned into like a Subway robot. And when I was there, dude, the water was not coming out of the fucking machine. And I ordered a water cup. So I look at the guy and I'm trying to tell him, and he's not paying attention. So I start putting Sprite in. Dude starts looking at me going, "Hey, you're putting Sprite in the cup." I said, "Hey, motherfucker, your water cup's not working." So we have a throwdown. Then he comes over and he takes his finger with the hand condom that they make the subs with, and he touches it. And he goes, "Oh, you're correct." I said, "Yeah, I'm fucking correct." I said, "I'm not sitting here still." I'm not saying, "But I want the dance." He said, "You can take Sprite." "Yeah, bitch, because your water cup don't work." I said, "Do you want to crack open the Dasani and pour it in my cup?" So I've had some wild experiences with Subway. Good times, bad times. But Subway also, it just hits. It's one of my favorite DoorDash places to go to order myself. Here's my go-to, Doug. I like the Italian herbs and cheese bread, rotisserie chicken, green onion, no, excuse me, green pepper, red onion, black olive, jalapenos, Baja Chipotle, two chocolate chip cookies, baked chips. If they have the sun chips, I get the sun chips. If they have the Miss Vicky's, which shout out to the Miss Vicky's Baja Chipotle Subway exclusive chips. Their fire tastes just like the sauce. And then I get a Coke. And I'll say this:
That's pretty
it hits the spot. It hits the spot.
I'll usually go American BLT, Italian cheese bread, American BLT, and then I'll do it like Mike's way because I fuck with Jersey Mike's. I just don't have access to it as much as I once did.
It's very good.
So I'll just do the like lettuce, tomato, red onion, salt, pepper, herbs and the oils and shit. Honestly, Jersey Mike's is the ultimate like sub sandwich. But what I was gonna say, so my history with Subway,
we got to talk about some of subs. So I'm so glad we're talking about this. Continue.
But no, so when I was growing up playing Little League baseball, after games and shit, where did my parents take me?
Subway.
Subway. What was I ordering? A fucking 12-inch long sub.
Yeah.
With like
you feel like a boss.
Yeah, with it was like that disgusting the chicken patty.
Oh,
the chicken patty.
They nuked that motherfucker in the microwave.
Yes. Dude, and I would just like load it up with sauces. It was just like I think about it, I'm like, it's disgusting. It's horrible. But
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was just like a terrible place to take like a growing child like after playing sports. Like you just like
The
burned a
chicken
shitload of
calories.
calories. We're just gonna like put it right back in you. And I was like, I get it. It's cheap to feed. It was a cheap way to feed a kid. But yeah, so what about subs?
So I will say this. I know I've talked about it a little bit this season, but there's a place, Jersey Mike's. Yes, they're up there. I would
In
rank
terms
it
of like
in
chains,
chains. Jersey Mike's, Subway, Jimmy John's. That kind of be the order of
they
my
did just
chains.
get bought out by BlackRock though, so quality is supposed to probably get that.
Who did?
Jersey Mike's.
See, that's sad because the one across the street, they do a really good job. They also, man, they put some good provolone on. But I
Dude,
will
I
say,
like how everything's like fresh shaved in front of you.
I
Like,
like
yeah.
it shaved. I don't like the process. I like it shaved. But here's the thing: the place to go get a sub now is Publix grocery store.
You were telling me about this the
Yes,
other day.
the pub sub is where it's at. If you listening have not had a pub sub, go to the nearest Publix to you, get a pub sub. It will change your life. They have three different types of bread. The person making the sandwich is guaranteed smiling, guaranteed happy, guaranteed to wanting to make your sandwich pleasure needs. They take fresh meat, boar's head meat or Publix meat. They make it. You can put whatever the fuck you want. You can even get meatballs, all these different kinds. They take whatever cheeses, toasted, then all toppings, loaded up with sauces, all this stuff. Some salt and pepper. They cut it up. It almost looks like 14 inches. If you aren't able to eat it all at one time, it's a two mealer. I threw it down in one with the ginger ale because I got a Seagram's ginger ale, and I remember I pounded that. Here's the thing: I wanted the sandwich that I hadn't had a post in a while. That ginger ale was crisp, but even though I was not food competition, I've been watching a lot of Beard Meets Food and people that do these food competitions.
Yeah, I've been watching this Aussie guy.
Yeah, that shit's good.
Shit, yeah.
And so I ate that pub sub in the car, and I'm looking in the mirror. And then when I drank my ginger ale, I was trying to drink it aggressively like I was a food, even though no one was watching. And it made the pub sub experience even better. But the pub sub, the thing about it that it's like it's so fresh, and they have this Italian 5 grain bread that when it's toasted, gosh,
So you said that they have all have a smile on their face, and it made me laugh a little bit because so I don't know, maybe like a year ago or something, there was like a viral pub sub like hack like menu hack that was going around on
really,
TikTok and shit. Yeah. And I remember seeing this video of someone who worked at the deli at a Publix, I think down in Atlanta. And the video was just them in their car, just like fed up. They're just like, fuck all of you for ordering this sandwich. It makes all of our days fucking terrible every time we have to make it. And all we have to do is make this sandwich all day long. And it's just like, we fucking hate all
it's
I
true.
was just, and it
I can
just
see
made me
that.
laugh. I was just like, yeah, I could see ordering a sandwich with like 30 different you know, so like sub outs
Mhm.
and variations and stuff like that could be kind of like, and you're doing it all day long. I could see that being a little bit just like, fuck TikTok.
Well, I would be mad about that because you're getting bum rush. And you're like, oh fuck, what's this person's story? Then somebody throws you a normal sandwich, so you got to make the extreme sandwich.
Yeah.
The thing about them though, they are always happy. But I will say this: the two consecutive times I've been to Publix, Hendersonville, Tennessee, and the one in Louisville, a female behind the counter got into it with the guy manager. So in Hendersonville, I'm talking to this lady. She's making my pub sub. She's halfway through it. This guy he goes up to her ear, and you can tell he's a manager, and he goes, "Did you cut that roast beef for so and so?" And she looked at him and she goes, "I'm making this gentleman sub." And I looked at her and I said, "You go, girl." So she made the sub. I was proud of her because she got my sub done. I was like, fuck that guy. Like, you quit interrupting my sub. I go to the Louisville one. I walk up. I'm heartbroken. I see there's no Italian 5 grain bread. Next thing you know, though, I see a whole full length one cut and ready sitting there. No, nothing's back. I walk up. Lady goes, "How can I help you?" No one's around. I said, "I want that. I want a sandwich on that bread." She goes, "Okay." So she starts making it. White dude comes over, manager with this hat on, goes, "What the fuck? That's my bread. You taking my bread?" And she's like, yeah. He goes, I have to make more. I got a meatball. She's like, "Sorry, I'm making his already." So I just looked at him. I just gave him kind of one of the finger air guns. And I just said, "Hey, man, have a good one." I fucking got my sub on that bread. He had already cut it, ready. Then she toasted it. And I was just sitting there and I hear the guy behind me go, "What's taking so long on the meatball?" And the guy was like, "I got to remake how to make the bread and stuff." I got that last loaf. And sometimes you got to pop in and hit that last loaf.
I mean, yeah, it's like taking the last slice of pizza. If you want that shit, just take it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm pro taking the last slice of pizza. Some people are too like shy about it. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, take that bread. Fuck it in.
Well, I went today. Shout out to Mary Jared. I went out today for her and worked a job, and then I ended up having to go to Valley Station. And as I'm leaving Valley Station, I'm like, I got to hit my favorite place, Mr. Gattis. It's either on Outer Loop or Dixie, and I'm like, I'm never out these ways. I'm hitting the Valley Station one. So I pull in. Nobody's there. There's like seven people there. The guy ringing me out or ringing me in. What's hilarious is I used to be his property manager at this apartment complex, and I said, "You still living there?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm still here too." And I'm like, "Damn, dude." So
Slumlords.
no, no, yeah, yeah, those that's the one slumlord group. Yeah, they were horrible. So he's just like young, don't give a fuck. So he lets me in. So these three girls and these kids are walking around, and this girl walks up to me before I grab my plate, and she goes, "What you doing?" And I said, "About to eat. What are you doing?" And she said, "Hey, hey, these my two girls right here. Hey, tell them something. Prove something for me. Prove something for me." I said, "Okay, what's up? I got this plate in my hand. I just made $50 on this little job in Valley City." I said, "What's up?" She goes, "Tell them how Mr. Gatti's was lit." I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "This ain't lit no more, but tell them how it was lit." I said, "Well, first of all, here's the deal. It is always going to be my favorite pizza." I said, "I used to go to St. Matthew's one in Linden." She goes, "Oh, I remember Linden." She goes, don't. She goes, "We got to do it to him. We got to do it to him." I said, "Okay." I go, "Bumper cars." She said, "Bumper cars." And so next thing you know, I still have not ate my food yet. And so I turned around and I was like, "Well, I had my 30th birthday there." She said, "You wild." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I hope y'all have a good time." She said, "It's nice meeting you." She said, "Get your pizza on." So I go get my pizza. Dude, there's 8 fresh pizzas. There is no one in this bitch. It's like 11:30 in the morning. So I walk up. They got Supreme. That's my favorite, the sampler. I start loading up slices. She pops up behind me. I'm telling you, they got 8 varieties of pizzas here. There's enough pizza to feed like everyone in that bitch. And she says, "Hey, I want you to take half pepperoni, half jalapeno on one side, half sausage jalapeno on the other. Can you do that for me?" And the girl was like, "What? We got 8? Okay." So she goes to make it. Next thing you know, I've already gone through a few plates. They still haven't got their pizza. Then there's a couple next to me talking about their custody battle. I said, "Will you all pick another fucking place? I got TV on.
This is
I
like a
got
pizza version of
it.
Panera.
It's everywhere I go, bro." And then I walk back into the Gaddy room. I'm getting my refill of my Coke. I look up, and I'll be honest, the decorations are whack. But I was checking out the game room. I was like, do I go in? I don't know. I love Mr. Gaddy's. It's a special spot to me. I killed the sampler today. Price has gone up. Now it's about $14 to get in that bitch. But yeah, I mean, not a fucking wait in the house. Just fresh pizza sitting there.
That's hard to argue with. I've never been to Mr. Gatti's. I'm not, not being Louisville local or native rather. But I've heard a lot of stories about a lot of people having birthday parties there growing up
Oh yeah,
in the '90s. My old roommate Cameron,
shout out to Cameron.
yeah, shout out Cameron. He said it was like super popping. I remember my old friend from college, Danielle. She grew up on the south side of here. She used to be like Gattis is so lit.
Oh, so fucking
Like when
lit.
we were in college and she talked about it and Bowling Green also didn't have it there. So like she'd talk about it and be like, "Oh, Mr. Gattis was just like the coolest." And
It was
I just
amazing.
like went through college thinking it was just like the shit, and then I moved here and someone told me what it was, and I was just like, oh, that's weird.
Well, the thing about it was this about Mr. Gattis. You had the Hirschborn one up here, which was super popping. That's where I had my 10th and 11th birthday. We had all the games, Colorama, games, ticket. It was the go-to. Went there like once a week. Then they had the one in Linden with the bumper cars. Everybody lose their mind. That's where I had my 30th birthday. And then Mr. Gatti's has popped up in different places. Now, if you go to Mr. Gatti's in Cart Country, there's a Bible just sitting in the lobby. You walk in, and the dude that owns it's like, bless you to be eating this pizza. And like, he has all these Bible scriptures on the pizzas and stuff. And he'll pop up at your table and just say, hey, it's a blessing that you're here today eating the pizza. That's the Shepherdsville one, but then I think it's just all franchise. They had the one in Butte. I used to get one by my grandma. They had this real tiny ass game room. I'd eat there though sometimes, but it had the best carry out. And also when you get their carry out, you'd be able to grab a slice or two. But they've been shutting them down. The outer loop one now is a smaller one. The one on Dixie's still open, but it's not as popping, but to me the pizza's still fucking good.
Yeah.
I still think the pizza's fire. And if you get a fresh sampler and pour that spice on, they have that Gatty spice. Holy shit! Like I'm in fuck like Door. You can DoorDash Mr. Gatti's pizza now. You can also get their dessert pizzas full on. Getting the dessert slice at the buffet is good, but getting a full blown s'mores pizza or a full blown fucking apple topping. Holy fuck.
So this sounds like CC's Pizza minus well CC's didn't have the game room.
Yeah, I hated CC's. Let me tell you why. Motherfuckers would be like, oh, Gaddy just a major league CC. No, Gaddy's still loaded up. Gaddy's now still got that thick cheese, that cheese blend. I go to CC's, dude. Those things were like throwing stars, dude.
I mean, you aren't wrong. I spent so much time in CC's growing up. It was like the place where the baseball team would go for the team dinner or, something like that. Or
How'd they
I don't
make their
know.
chicken so thin?
That is a good question.
The chicken was so thin on the
That is a good
slices.
question. Honestly, the slice itself was like paper thin. So it was
Exactly.
it was bizarre. But you go there with your friends in high school. Honestly, ours in where I grew up was open until I left high school.
Mm.
So we just like spent all of high school going there basically
Oh, I
without
don't blame you. I mean, that's
without
affordable
thinking
too.
about it, thinking that it's terrible food. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We're just like, oh shit, we can go to CC's for $5 and eat as much as we want for as long as we want, which honestly is insane to think about in today's economy.
Dude, it is because here's the thing. When I played,
And that wasn't that long ago.
it wasn't. It wasn't. When I played basketball for Seneca, when my freshman year, before I transferred to J Town, we would walk places in the Butyl area there on Barson Road before like a game or practice.
Yeah.
And I always would try to go to Mr. Gatti's. And I was like, man, even then, I just always had to have it. And it being close, it was also that option of affordability. I mean, you could go get a buffet for $10 and get drinks and food. But the thing that was wild, like CC's was like that. There was a few places that did it big. A place in Louisville that still does it big like this is Fat Jimmy's in Middletown. Fat Jimmy's still has the buffet. It's affordable. You go in, they got salad, pizza, dessert. It's a great one. They had one on Frankfurt Avenue, and it got to a point where you could basically drink like unlimited beers. Like they had this crazy Rolling Rock special, and then you had all this unlimited pizza. You be in that motherfucker wasted eating pizza like
All day.
yeah. And so they closed that one, and then the Middletown one's been the buffet. The cook that was at the Frankfurt Avenue, I know that he's rotated a lot of places. He's really good people. It's a case though where talking about economy, I don't think they can support it. But with Gattis, to be honest with you, like if they make a pizza that you like, you're gonna hit up as many slices that you can get to demolish it, and then you're like, okay, like I'm the guy that demolished that one. They really only have to keep 8 at a rotation. Also, thinking about it, talking about video games earlier, how fucking lit would that be? A pizza game where like motherfuckers love Sims and RPGs and all that shit. Think about like having to keep a fucking pizza place open, the games open. Like you got all this shit. Like, oh, we gotta fucking somebody threw a soda on the TV in the TV room. We gotta get the TV. I gotta call the maintenance. Oh, I gotta keep 2 pizzas.
That's something you can do in VR. Like I think there's like a restaurant owner simulator situation on VR.
I
Like
fuck with that.
yeah, like VR seems like
It's crazy.
it's a little scary, yeah.
It is scary. You know, the game that I was mind blown about, just looking on Microsoft's server of the games that they sell, I really only play sports games, but I can't believe that Farming Simulator is so popular.
Yeah, yeah. I when I got my Switch, I downloaded a farming simulator and a like a tractor trailer, like an 18 wheeler semi
Oh, that's got to be fun.
simulator. Yes, uh, it made me have a lot of respect because I was like, this shit's not fucking easy.
It's not.
Specifically when, because you're like in first person for some of it, and like you're like looking behind, trying to just like look behind you with the mirrors. Like, damn.
Are you delivering stuff?
Yeah, basically, like the game is just like you start without the load, and then you go pick up the load, and then you have to take it somewhere.
Oh, that's
You know
cool.
what I'm saying?
I like
It's
it.
literally just like real life, but
That's
like,
so
but
sick.
it's like fucked up real life to the point. It's like not fun because like your dude has to sleep. You run out of gas. Like if you run a stoplight or something
You
like
got to be
that, you
serious
get
about this.
yeah. Like this is why those people have those like super ultra like $1,000 rigs like set up in their homes
What,
with
what,
the
what,
steering wheel and the big fucking gear
very true.
shift. You know what I'm
What is
saying?
that radio? What is that radio called? The
Oh, TV radio.
Yeah, so you and I actually at one time were talking about the CB radio.
Yeah.
I downloaded it, and what's hilarious about the CB radio was I started messing with it for a while. And I started getting some listeners in Europe, and I got some people like in southeastern part of the United States. And what's funny, I would just sit there and go, "How's everybody doing tonight?" And you would get randomly 3 people doing great, just driving down here on 64, and you're just like, "Holy shit!" Well, then you would hear, "What are you bloody wankers doing?" And you're like, "Holy shit!" The dude in England's talking, and you would see on this map these random dots of the locations in the world where they're at. So you're looking at them and you're studying. You're like, okay, this person's from here, but then you would get random like 2 Australia people, and you're like, and it's like, "Hey, what you doing, that mate?" And you're like, "Holy shit!" Then you switch over the station, and there might be somebody on there that only has like 2 people, and you're like, "What y'all doing?" And you'll hear like, "Sitting here driving down the," and there's a few people that don't really want to talk. But what's funny,
Which is so weird because why are you on the app?
exactly, and you can make any nickname, and that's what was funny to me. I have a story about in college talking about food. There was a buffet called Koi, and I went there a lot with my friends in college, the Europe squad, and they called me Hibachi Sleaze because I would always load up the hibachi and eat hibachi my food. There was like a personal hibachi at the buffet. They
I
need more
wish
places
the
like that.
audience could see the hand motion you just
Yeah.
made to describe hibachi. I'm not going to describe it. You all can use your imagination.
I was just
But
hibachi an imaginary
you-
air hibachi.
Air hibachi, Two-handed, one-handed, it doesn't matter.
There's no literal fire. I'm just hibachiing this bitch. But next thing you know, I get to hibachi. Well, they started calling me Hibachi Sleaze. So on the CB radio, I made my name Hibachi Sleaze. So what was great, there was one guy named like Griff, and there was one guy that was named Barker 27. And I get on there and I'm like, what you guys doing tonight? And you hear, oh, just driving the bocce sleeves. What are you up to? And I just losing it. I'm like, they actually called me the fucking name. So you can make any name on there that the app lets you to actually enter, and they're gonna call you that. That's your name.
That like corner of trucker culture fucking rules.
It does.
I love it. Like it's just a little part of it. I don't know anything else about the rest of it, but like that part of it fucking rules.
Oh, 100%.
Just like the whole like using the like code names and just talking while you're driving down the road, like that's sick.
And
it's like a remnant of the '70s when like
exactly.
truckers were outlaws type shit. You know what I mean?
Were you a big walkie-talkie kid?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Dude,
oh, so like
they were great.
I grew up. My dad had like a CB radio in our sunroom. He didn't use it very much. It was mainly for just like listening to stuff. But like I never really listened to truckers, but I would listen. I would stay up late and listen to really intense religious conspiratorial radio that was just being broadcasted out of some crazy guy's basement.
Okay.
And he's just like ranting and like reading Bible passages. And I was just like, what's happening? So like that was my intro into CB radio.
Holy
and then
shit.
I found out it was like used for like a whole other thing. I thought it was just like crazy people were using it basically.
So you can actually get so far into CB radio where you're outside the trucker world.
Yeah, yeah. Like people are just like broadcasting their own radio on like a super small band and just like projecting it to like whoever can hear it.
I didn't know that. That's
so like
wild.
real talk, the person I was probably listening to was probably not that far away.
See, I thought about that.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I mean, maybe it was. I really don't know how CB radio works, but like, yeah.
Well, my buddy, he had two very nice walkie-talkies. This guy Davis, I grew up with, and I remember being at his house one night, and his parents and my parents went out, and it's like me, him, and his sister, and we got these walkie-talkies. Well, we start talking on one, and we realized that like we're playing with it so much that we're getting a signal and stuff.
Different channels.
And somebody pops in. Yeah. Some guy pops in and goes, "Hey, what are y'all doing?" Well, as kids, we freak ourselves out. We start locking the fucking doors. We're like, somebody's looking at the fucking. It turned out this person was actually like a mile down the street because we started naming off stuff. Well, what was funny, Davis's sister Mackenzie was so scared because we're sitting there telling it like, we live 2 miles from the unlimited breadsticks at Fazoli's. And the guy goes, I live a mile away. We're like, oh my God. Like everything the dude said, we're like freaking out. And here's the thing. We're not holding the button for him to hear the reaction of us. So he's thinking, I'm having a nice conversation. But he's over there freaking us the fuck out. Like it was crazy.
So the first time I remember finding out about channels and stuff like that with walkie-talkies, because I grew up fucking around with them too, but never really like messing around with them too hard. They were just like a fun thing to like use with my friends who lived down the street. So when I was in Boy Scouts, we used to go on snowboarding trips, like ski snowboarding trips to this mountain in West Virginia. I think it was Timberline Resort. We would do that for a weekend, but part of it was like everyone had a walkie-talkie and we were all supposed to be on a channel, right? Now we're like 11, 12, 13, 14. What do 11 to 14-year-old boys like to do? Fuck around.
Do stupid shit.
Do stupid shit, exactly. So we would change channels and then just like listen to other people on the mountain because like other families like use them. That's like a really good way to keep contact with people on the mountain because you don't have stuff. And this was also a time, it was like, it wasn't pre-cell phone, but cell phones weren't like what they are now, obviously. This was probably, I don't know, 2003 3, 4.
I picture y'all in the woods with these walkie-talkies.
Walkie like they were
Like a South
small.
Park episode.
Yeah, they were small, but like just switching the channels and like listening for other people, and then just like busting in on their conversation and fucking around with them and
Oh,
shit like
yeah.
that because there's zero repercussion. You know what I'm saying? You're on a mountain and
Yes,
you're just like on a
exactly.
walkie-talkie, so you could say whatever. Which honestly, at the time, probably reprehensible stuff. And
Oh yeah, for
things you
sure.
wouldn't want to hear on a walkie-talkie from like a 12-year-old. You
This
know
is
what I'm
attitude
saying?
era
Oh yeah,
wrestling
just like a
days.
lot of like suck it,
Yeah.
like
I
fuck
got 2 words
you.
for you. Suck it.
Yeah, you know, just like teens like learning how to curse. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, what did I just hear on Channel 3? Suck it.
Suck it.
So I will say this. I think what would be really cool, especially at that age, but even now, just because I grew up on Bond and spy stuff. Not saying I plan on spying on anything serious or hardcore, but it would be fun to be in a park or like on a hill and just be walkie-talkie and seeing who you pick up, and then somebody actually picking up on their phone or device, and you can watch them, but they don't see you. And you're like on the walkie-talkie, not doing anything creepy. You're just like,
You're just talking.
that would be insane. And they're like looking around, and you're like, I see, but you don't see me. I'm up here by this owl.
Bro, I know you like to travel and you've been all over the place. Have you gone? I know you've been to DC. Have you gone to the Spy Museum
Yeah. Oh, and
in
it's in,
DC?
yeah, yeah. That's part of the Smithsonian area, right?
Yeah. It's in the Smithsonian area. It's just like its own
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I hit them all because I ended up going there 3 times. And that's kind of the main thing I just did was going to museums in
Oh
the
yeah.
area, and I love everything about espionage and spying
Oh yeah.
and a lot of the breakdown of it. I mean, yeah, the spy movies and all that stuff really got me into it, but like I remember the craziest scenes. Like I used to be as a kid, like I said, elevation was always cool to me. Like I loved being in like a hotel, like being on the top floor
Mm-hmm.
looking down. I liked being the other situation that I really liked was like in the 101 Dalmatians, the animated version, like up on the hill looking over the city.
Oh
Like
yeah.
there was like different scenes like that would always resonate in my head or whatever. And I'm like, I always have been kind of like I also too as a kid had these crazy neighbors growing up, and I don't give a fuck. I'll say their name, the Kolovecki's. They were wild, and they jump naked on the trampoline and be crazy and doing all this stuff. So as a kid, I used to spy out my dining room window. Like my parents would sleep, and I'm in the spy room. And I'm like, what are they doing? They're throwing a party, and I'm seeing like somebody topless on the trampoline. And so here's the thing I learned. I learned at a really smart age. You don't look out the window with the lights on when it's
No.
dark outside. You were obviously seeing, but you look outside in the dark and it'd be like, holy shit, this is wild. What also was hilarious, also kind of scary too, is like anytime I was at my grandma's, she lived on this third floor condo over by Baxter Manor Lane. And I would sit like this is the funny part is like I'm sitting there and I go around to all the windows and spy because you're still high up, but you could see the shopping centers across the street. So like I
Yeah.
felt like I was the captain of Baxter Manor shopping like at the mall at the time and then the stores. But what was wild, it got scary too at times because there was a few times where I'd be on her patio and you'd see like a robbery that happened, and a lot of people would run through the complex to get away. Or you would look out and you might see like a suspicious car, and then you find out somebody broke in the building over. Like you kind of would witness things, so you're so high up, you felt safe,
Yeah.
but you also felt like you had this view. But then I would like sit there sometimes, like parents are talking about adult stuff. I'm in there watching cartoons, and I remember like I look out the window and I could see like another patio over there, and I'm like, wonder what they're doing. It's like I'm like, oh shit, they got a huge TV.
That was
Like,
how I saw someone smoking weed the first time.
holy shit.
I just remember being in the car with my parent. It was after seeing. You've seen Meet the Parents,
Oh
right?
yeah, for sure.
Okay, so
Classic.
in that movie, the son of, or I guess the brother of the girl that Ben Stiller is dating,
Yeah.
like pothead or whatever, and he has one of those like super old school like metal pipes that is it looks like an L.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I saw that and I was just like, oh, what's that all about? You know what I'm saying? And I remember being in the back seat of the car with my parents. We were just driving down the road in like traffic, and I'm just like looking at people in the cars next to us. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And two teenagers like drive by. They just like go slow next to us, and like I just look over, and their seats are just leaned way back, and I just like see them passing the bowl back and forth between each other, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
whoa.
Mind blow.
I was just like, people smoking weed. I was like, I was probably like 14. I'd never seen it before. I was just like, oh, this is weird. People just like out in public, just
I
smoking
remember
weed.
I remember driving through the Highlands as a kid when I was really young, and the Highlands was always known here as the hippie place, the party place, people with mohawks, crazy clubs, all this stuff.
I mean,
And I remember,
Bardstown Road is pretty.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's eccentric, but this was like '90s. You saw a lot of wild stuff. Like you'd see like half the group would remind you of like Doug Funny's sister, and then the other half is like remind you of like the Beats, and and where like Roger Klutz, a lot of
I
Doug
have heard
vibes.
a lot of like hippies were hanging out now.
Oh yeah, I mean there was all kinds of people, but I just remember as a kid, I'm driving through there, and I used to love it because you could people watch, and you're just staring at all these people, and there was just so many crazy hairdos and crazy things. Now it's just normal, but it's like, as a kid, it's always like the stuff you spy and see, and then there's also like it was always interesting too to see places that when you're younger, you're like, oh, I always wonder what it's like to be inside there. Then you like go in there and you're like, okay, this is cool, but it wasn't as exciting
Okay,
as me.
so the only place in Louisville that I have been that is like that, where where you might have gone, but
Mm,
it's like a building where like nobody would go into for real. Okay, so you know where Joe's Crab Shack is?
yeah,
You know that weird building that's kind of like next to it,
a
and
city building.
the
Yeah,
lollipop?
it's owned by the city. Yeah,
Okay, you been in there?
yeah,
Okay, that is the weirdest. Of course, you've been in there. You've been everywhere in the
yeah.
city. But when I was catering, that was probably the weirdest place I had ever catered because like you just like walk in and it's literally just an elevator, and then it takes you up to like the office space part, or I guess it's not office. It's more of like a conference center or something like that, like a really small
Yeah.
place to have like a dinner, or like conference or
It's
whatever.
very small, very
But
special, and it sits in the most random place of all time.
but the view is how it sits out
Oh
over the
yeah.
river is beautiful. And apparently, the girl that I was working with, we started talking to I guess the person who was like was with the place and was renting it out or whatever to this company that was using it for the night. And we were just like, I bet watching Thunder here is nuts.
Oh yeah.
And they rent it out for Thunder, but it's rented out like 20 years in advance. Like you'll never get it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, damn, that would be sick.
And the thing about that building is this: you walk past it, you don't really notice it, and if you go to Joe's Crash, and then when you're down there, you always look at the building and be like, "What is it?" It
Because
sits
it's
right up.
weird. It's like a lollipop.
Well,
It's very strange.
very strange. Sits right on the Belvedere, like off of it, right there by Joe's Crab Shack. The thing about it was the reason I went there. So Harbor House, I worked with them. I also worked with Budweiser at Joe's Crab Shack, and they would set up the big rubber duck on top. And the Harbor House actually got their rubber ducky race as a Kentucky Derby Festival event now. So they're able to use a lot of the areas where they dump. Joe's Crab Shack has their big thing. I mean, that's huge business for them down there. So that place is definitely a cool venue and cool vibe. I met some people down there when I was working at Leo, and I just remember going up and you get to look and see. And what's cool about it too, it's small as well.
It's
So
super
it's
small.
yeah,
It's
so
very personal.
and it's
Like
not.
like cap like
Mhm.
25, 30 people maybe.
Yeah, and the thing about it too, it's like when you're up there, you are so high up. You're not that high up, but you're so high up where you feel safe, and
Yes.
like you can look at like
Mm-hmm.
if the whole place was packed for like an event, you just looking over top of everybody because you're like that high up?
Well, like the thought of being there for Thunder seemed like it's just like mind-blowingly amazing because Thunder is fucking terrible. It's just like the crowds are terrible, people are drunk, people are fighting. I don't even know. There's so many
It's
other
worth
bad things
going
going.
one time.
I've been
Yeah,
once.
it's
I
worth
went
going once, and
and I
that's
went at
about
a
it.
good time when I was in college and I was down to like be a degenerate. Like I'm talking degenerate, absolutely getting hammered within the first like few hours off tequila, like
Not giving a fuck.
and fell asleep on the shore. You know what I'm saying? And just like woke up and was like, who stole my tequila? It doesn't matter. Someone stole it because you're a dumb fuck who fell asleep in public. Like, yeah. And that was the first time I ever played cornhole as well, and I did not know what I was doing. I didn't know how the score worked. All I knew was I had to throw a bag into a hole. And dude, me and my friend literally got cornholed like immediately. And I was just like, what happened? And he was like, we lost. And I was like, well, fuck.
That's how cornhole can go down. I will say this about Thunder. You can do it really big or really shitty. Really shitty, I've been down there on the water, people drunk, fight, can't find a bathroom, girlfriend's wasted, you're fucking trying to find a seat, all this shit. But I've also been in like a condo on Indiana side, watching it from a balcony, and you get the full works and shit. So I've got both perspectives. I'm glad I've done both. But yeah, I'm good on Thunder. Now I will say this about the waterfront. A lot of people don't realize about the waterfront. So you got Joe's Crab Shack down there. You of course have Thunder. You got the waterfront park that goes down. You got the bridges, all that shit. But there's the Belle of Louisville, of course. But there's actually
a there too.
Oh yeah, dude.
And the smaller boat.
Well, there's a smaller boat.
Yeah, but Queen Mary, is that what it's called?
There's the Queen Mary, there's the Belle of Louisville, but the Belle of Louisville is the one that's been there forever. The thing about it though, the little building that's floating behind the Belle of Louisville is the oldest pumping station in the world. It is still a functioning pumping station, and I think it works as like Belle of Louisville's offices. So it's down there. They used to have the Triceratops. So there was a Triceratops that, little fun fact about this about Louisville. There was a Triceratops that was in the Science Center. The Science Center has always changed their exhibits, everything. But when I was a kid, the Science Center turned the whole place into a dinosaur place. Sick. There was moving dinosaurs. It was crazy. It was so lifelike and real. I remember it to this day. Well, when they revamped it and a lot of their stuff's in their basement and they've moved pieces and all that stuff, this Triceratops was actually found at the New York City World Fair back in the 70s. So he's been around a lot. We went to New York City, all this stuff. So they got him, they put him down by the Joe's Crab Shack parking lot. Well, of course, sitting there, he's not getting a lot of exposure. He's just sitting there. So they take him out there and they put him down in the West End in this random place. So I'm reading, shout out to Kevin Gibson. I'm at Leo. I'm doing some research. I'm reading this book. And I find out that this World Fair Triceratops, it's been all over Louisville and New York and all this stuff, is just sitting in some industrial warehouse in the West End's like parking lot behind it's all chain link fence. So I drove down there one day. I'm in the West End looking crazy. Dude, I'm taking pictures of the Triceratops through the gate like it's a real fucking animal, but I'm like literally just fucking zooming in, taking these snapshots. And what's crazy, that Triceratops now, there is a concrete pillar that stands over Yarmouth Gardens behind the Science Center. He's now standing right there downtown. So when you go to the Muhammad Ali Center, you're down by 7th, 8th Street, Museum Row, you can go back there and see the Triceratops on top of the concrete pillar.
How long has that been on that pillar?
A few years now.
Wait, since post-COVID?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. I used to spend a lot of time down there because when I was with the catering company, like I was at Muhammad Ali Center, Science Center, Fraser,
the whole museum row,
Slugger, yeah, all the time. Literally, I was at least at one of those buildings at least once a week.
I
And
think
I was at the
even
Science Center
I
a
think y'all
lot.
cater to K-Mac too, probably.
Uh,
The Random Art Museum before the Science Center.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Once, yeah, I personally did one time there. We catered at a lot of weird
That
places,
place was
honestly.
fancy, and it's free though. You go in there, it's got all this fancy stuff, and it's
Yeah,
free.
yeah,
But the gift shop's very expensive.
yeah. Wait, is there a coffee bar in that? In that?
That you're actually thinking of the coffee bar that's down. There might be in
There's like an
there.
art
They
gallery
got
with like the
something in there, but
coffee
there's Atlantic
bars.
number 5 that was down there. Then there
Okay,
was the Bristol was across the
maybe
street, that kind of area.
yeah. I the
Luigi,
framing,
there's Luigi's Pizza down there. That
yeah,
was a buffet
in
where you
Palazzari's as well.
in Palazzari. And the thing about now in Palazzari's is now a comedy club, which is
Is it
wild.
really?
Louisville Comedy Club now.
Oh shit!
Two
Okay.
drink, two food minimum. I was actually talking about it on an episode here recently. It's got you got to get the minimum, but they bring a lot of
Let's
big
talk about
acts and
that.
big names.
No, let's talk about food minimum.
Yeah,
Is it food and drink, or is it food or drink?
you can get food or drink. So,
Okay.
so you could get like a Coke and like a pretzel
All
appetizer.
right. Okay, so like Carrie and I were talking about this the other day. We were talking about how it's weird that like comedy clubs have this like two drink minimum, but usually it's alcohol based
Mhm.
because they have to make money.
Yeah.
That's lame. I don't drink anymore, so like I, it's hard. You know what I'm
Well, they're
saying?
not pushing like at Louisville Comedy Club. They understand there's people that don't drink, there's people that have alcohol issues. Like they're not pushing you to order an alcohol,
Well, that's good
but
that
they're like you need to get
at least
a
like
Coke
the
or a
food
drink.
is cool.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like being able to switch it out with food because some of these comedy clubs are not like that. They just there's like two drink minimum, and it's like
And the food's good.
the food. Yeah, I'm sure. We went to Zany's and the food was good there too. You know what I'm saying? So I have faith that places that like
Oh
comedy
yeah.
clubs have good food. It's just like the two drink minimum thing is it bothers as someone who doesn't drink.
Well, it's also a case where there was a big debate on Facebook talking about a similar subject where a lot of people get mad at gas stations and especially smoke shops where they put $5 minimum,
Oh yeah,
and you're going in there, yeah, and you're going in there possibly just to get a light or whatever. Now, here's the thing, yeah, and I understand fees and different things. I understand you got to hit a certain minimum, but it gets to a point where it's like I'm coming in here enough, I'm buying the product from you still, like you got to sell it. Now, I have not. I've argued about some shit in my life, smart shit, dumb shit, but at the end of the day, I'm not gonna push it over like $3, $5 minimum or something. But sometimes the minimum is like it's hilarious. You're also too when you get up there to that point and you have $4 worth of shit is all you fucking need, and the motherfucker's like it's got to be $5. Well, you look around and you're like, okay, your cocksucking ass put all the king size candy bars right here. So I got a 4.49 fucking Twix that could literally feed all of fucking downtown Louisville, but I don't want to get that. But then I'm going to get out of line. I got 8 people deep, and oh, we got someone playing Powerball numbers. So I'm about to be here all fucking day. So then I go back and I find Bazooka Joe Bubblegum. It's only 79 cents. God damn it. Well, then I go to the clearance section. Oh, this candy's only 50 cents. Now I got a lollipop up my ass. So I'm back in line. I go back up, and now I'm finally paying it, and it's like, it's 5.13. God damn, I'm so glad that 13 cents changed the whole fucking narrative today. But here's the other thing.
They
I
still
understand
want
people got to make
money on
business. I get it. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They did. And the other thing, too, here's the best part. Have you ever been to a gas station or a store and you look at the prices? You walk up, you clearly grab the fucking item in your hand, and the item says, for example, we'll say this: 3.59 for a share size plain M&M chocolate candy bag. But then I go to the left section. Now Nestle, who makes Crunch Bar, I don't know the candy distribution brands and beefs. I grab the Nestle. It's 3.89. Share size, big bar too. Okay, 30 cents difference on the price. I grab a few other fucking items. My friend in the car wants some barbecue chip twist. This girl in the car wants a Mountain Dew, and Doug here he wants a Canada Dry. And I go up to the counter, I'm ringing out, and the dude or the woman goes, How you doing today? Starts typing in the computer. How do you
Thankfully, I've never had that
you're
experience.
but here's the thing. I look at the Crunch Bar, I look at the M&M bag, and they don't have a price tag or anything on them. It's just the regular package you would get out of the box. How does she know that I got the 389 Crunch compared to the 359? You're telling me she's memorized every price? Oh, is that the original Pringle or the smaller Pringle? 279, 229. She don't know. And here's the thing. How am I going to debate it? And then I turn around and I got Powerball Susie. Hey, I want to play my five numbers and I got three bet on this and two. And also, why is the air machine out there not taking quarters? And I'm like, oh, fuck, I got to get out of line. So then I get out of line and now I'm back in line. And then I'm sitting there looking, oh, I've left my wallet on the counter. Now I go to the wallet. Do you have an ID to show that this is your wallet? Motherfucker. Like, I'm just saying, that's how it goes
You
down.
need to go to the gas station.
I do, but I do.
Straight up.
But I'm just saying,
You need to go to the one with a scanner.
exactly. But I'm saying, I just hit them up wherever the convenience factor, because, AKA the keyword convenience, but it's like, sometimes it's like, what the fuck? Now, I will say
I
this
will
too.
drive out of my way to go.
Oh,
Like that. I will drive even further out of my way to go to a Thornton's that has self checkout. I swear to God, if I don't have like if there's one that's like 2 minutes down the road
the
that
self
doesn't have
checkout.
self checkout, I will drive 5 minutes to the one further down fucking Westport Road.
You're right. They do have a nice self checkout. Now, I will say a lot of places are getting the self checkout. I will say this about Circle K. They went Star Wars with their bitch. But here's the best part. They have a cashier that is standing behind the cashier thing. Now, I'm going to talk about the one in J Town.
Oh, are you talking about the scanner bullshit?
Yeah, the machine.
Oh, dude.
And they're behind the counter reading a book on their iPhone. They don't know what the fuck I put up there on the counter. I could have literally put a fucking glow stick, whatever. I put all the shit up there on the counter. And this machine's like,
It's kind of yep.
and it's like 11, 19. And the person's like, you need any help? Well, what did you do? And then I like pay for it. And then also, too, I'm taking off the machine. Also, how do they know that I didn't put the Hershey bar on the radar machine? And I'm also, as soon as I scoop it, instead of seeing the guy pop up from behind the kiosk reading a book, how cool would it be to see him pop up as like a little fucking holographic, or like a hologram, and he starts talking and he goes, did you have a good time at Circle K? Hope you go roll those white owls up and enjoy your Kit Kat bar. And it's like, and he like virtually fist
Gives
bumps
you a
you.
fist bump? Yeah, that'd be
That would
dope.
be sick.
So I'm gonna put you on. I mean, you might never use this. Maybe someone else will. From my experience, those things cannot tell the difference between a 12-ounce bottle soda and the 24s.
Holy shit.
So it'll just charge you for the 12 ounce.
How? And that's the thing about it. I just don't.
Because
I
the
don't.
cap looks exactly the same. It's just shooting it from the top down, right? So like the cap is exactly the same. It just thinks it's a regular soda.
But have you ever gone to the gas station and you've seen the self checkout or that laser scan hologram machine off, and there's people just ringing out,
Yeah.
and you're thinking to yourself, you paid for all this technology, it's not even working right. You're trying to eliminate the person that's ringing out their job, and I'm supporting the person. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm glad they're here to have a job, but also at the end of the day, why did you pay 10 grand to put this machine in and it's not working on Saturday night when there's 80 people in here buying snacks?
Yeah. Okay. What you just said makes sense about supporting the person behind the counter. However, I support by shopping there. I don't want to speak to anybody.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Feels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
All
I get it. I get
didn't
it.
want to sound like I support robots because I don't. Let's be straight up about that.
You don't want a robot out there squeegeeing your window and
Yeah, I don't.
spraying your
I don't
gas.
support the robotification of like a regular worker. You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
However, I don't like speaking.
No, I get it. I get it. And everything about it is it's a different vibe, and sometimes the cashiers are unique. Some are different. We actually had a Louisville Thornton's cashier go viral. I'm going to be honest. I don't know how I would have reacted. I saw this guy online, and when you walk up, he's like, "Hey, what's up? How's it going? Rock and roll. So we got a Kit Kat, we got a Dr. Pepper, and then we got $10 on pump too." And he was calling himself like the rock and roll cashier.
Like that would make me just sigh.
It was
Just
too
like,
much.
God damn.
And he kept doing it every person. And it showed Louisville, Kentucky. And I believe it was the one on Westport Road. I don't know if that guy's there. I don't know if he still brings that
That was
energy.
my Thorntons, and I never ran into
It was
Thorntons.
way too much. And I was like, that's the other problem. Another funny thing. I went to this Adele concert thing, orchestra thing.
Yeah.
And they start playing the songs. And there's a lot of people there drunk. And people aren't paying attention or following directions to realize you're not supposed to sing the songs with the orchestra. You're not supposed to fucking take flash photos. You're not supposed to jump up and down.
This isn't a regular concert,
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
yeah, this isn't like
This is a tame event.
exactly. And out of nowhere, they start playing fucking "Rolling in the Deep," and it's of course one of the closer songs to the finish, and you just hear, uh, the fucking drum going and the rolling. Well, here's the thing. Everybody is just sitting there chilling. And I look straight ahead to this opposite corner of the venue. And this white couple, this just corny ass white couple, old white couple, start doing offbeat this. And they're clapping, and you see them beating their feet. Well, you hear somebody 3 sections over go, "Oh hell no! Stop that shit!" Well, people, people were so rambunctious. It was wild, and I turned around like, "Oh fuck!" So I look at Danielle and I said, "Why the fuck are people clapping?" So Danielle's like, "They won't stop," and I said, "Danielle," I looked at her dead in the eye, and I said, "They won't stop, and they can't stop." I said, "If they stop." Everyone is looking right at them. They're the only two clapping. And here's the worst part. You saw them keep deflating the more they clapped. Like they were getting tired and they were like, this was a bad idea. No one else clapped.
Shit.
I'm looking above. There's a top section. There's like a balcony section. They're looking down. The person working the light has now hovered the light to the clappers.
Yeah.
And they are just dying, dude. They're like this. And I'm like, oh my God, how cringe. If I was security, I would escort them out right
there. Yeah, that's probably. I mean, I guess if it's towards the end, just kind of let it ride out. But
might taste.
Don't taste me, bro.
I didn't tell
Dude,
orchestra
that was
concert.
at Western.
Was that?
I'm pretty sure that was the thing. I'm pretty sure
I thought that was Florida.
Oh, maybe it was. There was like a viral tasing incident that happened at Western when I was going to school there. It was like a dude getting tased in the subway
in
the student center. I mean, maybe.
Oh wait, that was. I remember that.
Wasn't that "Don't Tase Me, Bro"?
I don't think. Well, wait, we gotta watch that because I remember that, dude. That was so intense because he literally yelled, "Don't text me, bro." It's fucking straight face.
It just like falls like a fucking board. Like,
dude, I watched like we were talking about. We were watching some wrestling before, pro wrestling, and it's crazy to me how the evolution of the headshot evolved. Like during Attitude Era, it was kind of like part of your professionalism to take the headshot or give it. And like and there was of course hardcore wrestling and people bleeding and stuff. But what was wild is it's like thinking about all the weapons that they've used over the years, but it's just like
someone bringing like a metal sink. I
yeah,
personally love ladder. The bring your own weapons match.
Yeah, those are insane, and it's like you see people bring ladders. Like I watched a match the other day, and it was like a ladder match where they put the title belts, and it was from like the Attitude Era. It's like 8 guys in the ring. They're spinning the ladder, jumping off it, hitting, just not giving a fuck. And I was telling my maintenance man, this was hilarious. He comes over yesterday. I needed 2 things done. He does them, but I had to wait about 3 weeks because I guess the snow.
Yeah.
I was cool, didn't give a shit. Really cool guy. He starts sitting down watching wrestling for a minute, and I said, "You can chill." So he's asking me a bunch of questions, and he's like, "What's the craziest injury you're seeing?" And I'm telling him, I'm like, "Dude, some of these people just don't give a flying fuck." But it is wild. But I was telling him how the old school wrestlers now, some of them they don't like the whole rehearsal shit. A lot of the new guys like to rehearse stuff now. So
Yeah,
you
they
see
used to
the
just like
difference.
call it on the fly, right?
Call it on the fly. They do
Yeah.
the whisper, and I think even some of the newer guys maybe still be able to do that now. But at the end of the day, that was kind of the difference. And so you see that there was actually a big botch that happened here last week. A guy jumped off the rope on SmackDown, and he ended up landing, and he hit on the table, and he ended up like getting a few serious injuries, out for 2 months. And it's just crazy that even when you possibly rehearse it and you're trained professional, anything can fucking happen
Oh
on that
yeah,
shit.
for sure. I mean, yeah, when you're jumping into tables and like that's what like blows my mind about the Bills Mafia.
Jumping
You
through tables.
jumping through dude, you paid so much money to go to that game and you jump through that table wrong and it fucking like impales you, like it splinters and it impales you or something. What dumb fuck? Like I don't it, like I'm glad it works out every time, but it's just like
It'd be
damn dude.
hilarious if insurance companies in Buffalo had like a jump through table premium
Policy,
package. Yeah.
yeah, it's like this is the Bills Mafia health insurance package.
They be jumping through tables. I've seen them jump through a lot, crazy. And like when you watch WWE, you see the metal part like slam up, and you're like, oh fuck, that could have been bad. Here's the thing: it still could be bad, even though those are set up to fall. But with the Buffalo Bills, another thing that's wild about the Bills, these guys, they just showed a guy here at the last game in the AFC Championship. He's pouring beer on his head with shirt off, and it's like
It's
you
like,
literally can get frostbite.
yeah,
And like,
I saw a video of like them like having to hike through snow to get to the stadium.
well, the Bengals back in the '80s, they went to the Super Bowl, and it was like the Ice Bowl is what they called it, and it was one of the coldest football games of all time. And there was guys and people that didn't have their shirts on and no gloves, and they were doing amputations after the game because of how cold it got, and people literally turning into frozen hot dogs. Like
That's
it's
crazy.
just it's nuts.
Sports fandom.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I went to one of the craziest things. I was at a Reds Cubs game once, probably 23 degrees, and I was having a good time.
I'm gonna leave after that. After that one.
Well, it's Sammy Sosa, McGuire days, and I'm looking, and actually no, this was Sammy Sosa, McGuire days. So it was the
Like
Cubs Reds
97, 98.
90, 97, 98, yeah, that time. And I look over and there's just people with no shirts on. And I'm like, that's wild. And I was sitting there so cold. And that's what's crazy to me. You'll watch NFL players now, and during the pregame warmups, they're going to have full pads on and gear when they're playing, but they're actually warming up with no shirt on, running around.
Yeah.
And I understand, like, showing the toughness, but it's like how tough that is crazy. And another thing, not to get off of another random subject, but talking about competition and like sport, Gladiator 2 just came on Paramount Plus, and I watched it. I've always been a big Gladiator fan of the original, Coliseum, all that stuff really fascinated me. But watching Gladiator 2, the one thing I never considered or thought about is the weather factor. And those guys probably were fighting some cold ass shit,
Oh yeah.
warm ass shit. They had the ships with the water, like they had all this stuff. And there's a scene in Gladiator 2, not to ruin it for anybody, but it's where it's almost like the gladiator stuff and the Coliseum kind of took over a little too far, started causing destruction. Everybody's kind of fighting each other, and patron or the guests are fighting the guards and all that stuff. And you're watching this and you're thinking to yourself, like, number one, you would think that happened more, and number two, it was so crazy how they could transform that Coliseum into so many different ways of like the technology. Like you look at our arenas now, there's a lot that you can swap a basketball to hockey. There's a Madison Square Garden has hockey and basketball. Like
You've got fucking banana ball turning
Mm,
football stadiums into baseball fields,
exactly.
which is crazy.
And you got the Reds and the Braves are going to play in Bristol, Tennessee, which is
Wait, at the racetrack?
the NASCAR racetrack.
Ah,
So
that's crazy.
that's coming up this season. So I'm hoping that that'd be fun to try to go. But thing about it is, it's just going to be cool to see. But you think about it, Bristol, Tennessee, is such a small
Dude, it's a
random
strange
city.
place.
Yeah,
Have you
one.
been?
No, I'm not.
I only say it's strange because it's one of those weird towns that's split between two states. Like half
Oh,
of it's in Tennessee
like
and
Floribama, kind
yeah,
of.
half of it's in Tennessee and half of it's in Virginia, and you just kind of like drive through it, and like there's the state line like through the road, and I don't know, man. It's just like a weird
But
vibe.
think about bringing two MLB teams, and
Oh,
you're
it's
trying to
dope.
fill up that whole, and you're filling the whole stadium.
It's very cool.
I love it, but what I think they should have done a 3 game home thing or a 3 game
Yeah,
distance fan
yeah,
there.
yeah. An actual like
Yeah,
series.
have
Yeah.
3 games there because seeing one, it's still gonna be cool. Now, I don't even know how the metrics work out. I think too, the Reds, if it worked out and the Reds wanted to do some kind of partnership with NASCAR or play in different venues, open up Sparta racetrack. I mean, they don't use Kentucky Speedway like they used to, so it's like,
Weird. I drove, so I don't live that far from
hmm.
there. Uh, Carrie's grandfather helped lay asphalt or something like that. Helped,
Oh
took
shit.
took part in building it in some fashion. Um, I drove by it the other day. It doesn't have a gate up. There's no like chain or anything. And this was like when it had just snowed.
Hmm.
The road all the way out to it was plowed.
That's wild.
Is that not weird? It's been out of commission for how long?
I
At
would like to
some
know. I need
point,
to look that up because I haven't heard about a race there in a long time.
there hasn't been, and they don't use it for anything. But it weirded me out. My dumb conspiratorial brain like firing off like its last neuron. I drove past it and I was just like, "What's the like this?" Which is weird.
Because you think about Sparta, there's nothing there.
There's nothing
There's
around.
a motel, a gas station, the strip club shut down, racers, and then
Mm-hmm.
literally you have the speedway. That's
Yeah.
the only thing there in Sparta. It stands out. It's got the blue and yellow. You can see it. And the thing about it, it's a fully functioning NASCAR track. They even did, I believe, the Quaker State 400 there, the Kroger 400.
It's
Like,
huge when you drive past it.
oh,
It's like weird looking because it's so empty.
I would like to see that. To be honest, I like watching those YouTube videos of the exploration where
Oh
people go
yeah,
to
the
abandoned
urbex
places.
stuff. Yeah,
That's something we'll have to look up to see if somebody's actually explored that
explored it.
and
Yeah.
checked it out because that is a mystery place to me. And that whole little stretch there, there's a lot of mystery stuff. Now, also, if you're in that area, the world's coolest bathroom is in that area.
Okay. Yeah.
It's people have gotten married there. You go in and you press a button, and there's like a frog, and a disco ball comes down, and lights start shining, and plays music.
It's like an
So,
EDM party or
yeah,
something like that, right?
it's a blast. So it's definitely worth checking out. It's worth seeing. So if you're in that area or heading to Cincinnati from Louisville,
Is it in
check it out.
Covington?
It's actually like 10 minutes from Sparta,
Oh,
going towards Louisville. So
no
you
shit.
actually see. I'd have to see. I think it.
Is it
I'm
near where I
Overton
live?
or Overton or
Oh,
Overton
okay.
or something. It's close to where you live.
Must be.
There's two. What's funny is there's two gas stations. There's one on the right, so there's one on the left, and they have the advertisements. Like there's actually a sign that's like coolest bathroom,
Oh, okay.
like, and I didn't even notice it. And I remember going to the Reds game with somebody. We miss it. We come back, and that's how we found out about it because we're like, all right, this is the exit. And it actually was super popular on like I think TikTok and Facebook Reels and all that, so people were finding it. But Doug, I want to thank you for coming on the show. It was a
Yeah,
blast.
dude, I had a lot of fun. This was
Yeah,
a great conversation.
yeah, always fun, always a good time catching up. You always bring great content, and I love bringing guests back on that haven't been on in a while. So thank you again, and thanks for making the journey in from Ghent. So tell people how to reach out if they want to reach out.
I'm on Instagram, but don't reach out.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, Doug's not the most social cat, but at the end of the day, If you do want to reach out, he likes sports cards now. That
Yeah,
might be the new thing in baseball, World Series. So just send him anything about World Series stuff in baseball. Rest in peace, Ricky Henderson.
yeah.
I haven't got to say that yet. He did pass, and I'm very excited about the upcoming baseball season. I've already seen all the baseball moves, and then
Rest
I'm
in peace, Bob Uecker too.
yeah, Bob Uecker. Yeah, another legend. Rest in peace, him. Good call on that. Yeah, Bob Uecker and Ricky Henderson, two legends that really changed the game, and two Hall of Famers.
True.
So, vibingwithsleazy.com is the website. Vibing with Sleazy, the podcast, Facebook, Instagram, over 32 platforms. You can download, listen, check it out. Also, every content's been downloaded and listened on. So, keep getting the content listens going on because I love the international people. Keep getting the countries going and keep getting the cities growing. I love all the feedback and love. This has been a blast. I want to thank all the past guests, future guests, and everybody for vibing with Sleazy the podcast. So I am out. Peace.